Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at my favorite Pokemon, Greninja, in the Open Great League. This Pokemon kinda, disappeared a little bit with the new update because Pokemon like Poliwrath are being more common, Pokemon like even like Electric type being more common. So we're going to have an interesting team here. We're going to have another Pokemon that I really want to test out as well, and it's actually not Clodsire, it's Sableye. Sableye is a Pokemon that I feel like has a ton of potential in the current meta. There are a ton of Psychic type Pokemon which I encountered in like some sets that I played prior as well with a different team. You see every single battle that I did with this team, there's nothing cut out of here. There's no like when I play bad or whatever, you see everything. Every single team or like every single battle that I did here against any opponent, we're going to be able to go for a Night Slash here against the opponent's Gligar and look at our Greninja. Greninja is going to be able to even get the boost here. I can get now another shield from the opponent as well, and this is not all. Greninja is still really solid as you're going to be able to get a shield and switch advantage with this Pokemon and giving next to no farm to the opponent, double shield advantage actually, so never mind about that one. That's just mad. Like, honestly, Greninja still has a ton of potential, as you're gonna see here as well. The opponent swapping out, and this game is over. Next opponent coming up, we're going to have the Dragonite in the lead. This is going to be a little bit of a trickier matchup for us, but we can stay in. We're going to have here the Poison Sting plus Sludge Bomb on our Clodsire, which is going to be kind of fine as well. Like, it's definitely a solid moveset. I think it's the recommended moveset as well. You could argue of going for Stone Edge, but I feel like Sludge Bomb is such a solid move. Being Stab, it's kind of, in my opinion, the better move to go for, especially as our backline is not weak to Talonflame or anything like this, so you don't really need the Rock type coverage anyway. And so we're just gonna go for Sludge Bomb, and we're gonna be able to get a shield advantage here. And you see me swapping out into my Greninja. Why that? Because I can go for the Night Slash way faster than, for example, the Sableye gets to their own move. Sableye would not outspeed the Dragonite, while Greninja is able to, but sadly, we're gonna get out the Medicham. And so now it's all down to one Pokemon. It's all down to a Sableye with some energy advantage now. A great matchup against the Medicham and Shield here, which is going to be interesting as the opponent going to have now in the back the Dugong. What I have to do now is what most people already see as well, I think. I have to catch. And I will be able to catch. And so, this game kinda got turned around with an insane Sableye sweep here, as you will be able to go for a foul play into the incoming Dragonite here. This is going to be able to get the knockout against them. And now it's just time for the return to say goodbye to that Dugong, and boom, goodbye there. We will be able to win this one as well. Let's take a look at the next opponent. This is going to be a Pokemon that is very common. I don't know if I already made a video about it, but there will be definitely a video coming towards Cresselia. But here we're going to be able to go ahead and go for the foul play against the Bastion swapping in. Not the worst, but also definitely not the best matchup to have here. I feel like that you're not going to be able to really have any play here as a Sableye. You could argue of going for a shield, and then most likely would get a shield back eventually. It's still not really the most beautiful matchup there because Smackdown is just ending up after a while. But as you're going to see here, we're still going to get them low, and low enough, interestingly enough, for us to go for the Poison Sting down against a Steel type that has insane defense, insane stats in general, and we just Poison Sting him all the way down. Like, how satisfying was that? Honestly, I feel like it's kind of funny, but we can still go for the Sludge Bomb here against the Cresselia. We have to swap out after we get to the Earthquake, and we get completely hardwalled. And I don't even know if the team made a lot of sense from the opponent there, to be fair. Like, of course, they hardwalled me with it, but, like, what is their say-stop? The Poliwrath? Like, what do they do against the lead of, like, a Steel type? I don't know, like a Galarian Stunfisk, even Registeel going to be worse for you. Like, I feel like the team didn't really make too much sense, but I feel like this is something that I encounter quite often. Like, we just throw together 3 super meta Pokemon and, yeah, hope for the best, basically. But, yeah, it is what it is. Here we're going to encounter Steelix, and honestly, the opponent gets, I think, like, back-to-back or whatever, attack drops immediately here. Steelix also a Pokemon that I kind of want to take a look at again as well, because I feel like it is way better than a lot of people expect, because now Poke rankings rank it really, really low, but it's kind of in the nature on how they kind of function, but I already talked about it before. So here we're going to see the matchup against the Whiscash. I purposely went for the CMP ties, so we're going to allow the opponent to get basically 0 energy in. What you're also going to see here is now an insane play for Greninja. We're going to use a shield here because I don't really want to get too low. I can go for 3 more fast moves, go for the Hydro Cannon. If they shield, I can still get to another charge move, but the opponent decides to let this move go through, and they're going to have a Skeledirge in the back. I have zero clue why they decided to let this move go through, but I definitely take it, as I can just go for a Night Slash, I can go for another Night Slash, and the Greninja is just showcasing the main potential of this Pokemon. It's just so spammy. Like, how many charge moves they are just hit back to back to back, it is mad. Next opponent, let's see what they're going to run. We're going to have here the Clodsire against a Victory Bell. This is going to be an interesting one, and I definitely still remember this battle as well, which is going to showcase something to you, which I don't really like to see, but it is what it is. We're going to see here Victory Bell in the lead, which is kinda an awkward one, and I guess I should have played it differently, but I feel like it is still very risky. The thing that I should have done here is I should have went for the Earthquake in the beginning, but I of course don't know that the opponent is going to let the move go through, and I was also not too familiar about the damage output of my Clodsire. But as you can see here, I now have a shield advantage, but the opponent is going to have in the back a Wigglytuff. What I expected was the Bastion plus the Deoxys defense, where I was like, okay, yeah, like swapping out is still kind of bad, but I didn't want to get hit by some other move anyway, and I wouldn't have been able to realign anyway either. So yeah, it is okay, but yeah, it's just awkward. Like now, my only play is here to hope that I can still knock them out with a Night Slash. It's resisted, it's debuffed. I doubt it will, but like I kind of need to get a boost here because it's going to be a Bastion in the back for sure. And yeah, I don't get it, and there is no hope for me in this game. But yeah, if I hit the Earthquake in the beginning, I would have been fine because I would have been able to knock out the Victory Bell basically immediately because of the extra damage, but I was not able to. Here we're going to encounter the Lantern in the lead, which is definitely what you kind of want to see. That's why you use the Say-Swap of the Sableye to try to get it out as you have a ground type in the lead. They usually kind of want to swap out there, but in comes now a Surf-Edge, and our backline does not really appreciate Surf-Edge too much, so what I decide to do here is I decide to stay in and I can still go for a charge move. The cool thing here for Clodsire is Spark does basically 0 damage at all, like literally just doesn't do any damage. So we even can just get our Clodsire very low, and we can still going to be able to like go for an Earthquake later on if they want to go back into their Lantern. I still will be able to resist the Spark, but they decide to go into the Trevenant. And I stay in here and go for a charge move with my Clodsire because I cannot align my Greninja against the opponent's Lantern, so I decide to align against Grass type here. But luckily enough, we're going to be able to still survive this one, and I expected the opponent to swap out, so I decided to swap out my own into my Sableye, and I will be able to reach a charge move in time. And the cool thing here is, as well, as long as I'm going to use a shield in the beginning, I will be always able to realign. Because even if we don't knock them out here, because like I maybe need like one more extra fast move, I still would be able to survive a Surf, and yeah, if they went for Thunderbolt in the beginning and I had no shield, this would be a loose con. But like this, the opponent can still go for the knockout against the Sableye. It does not really help too much because I have a Night Slash stored and Greninja is going to clean up this game again. Good game there, let's move on to the next one. Next opponent is coming through, again another Lantern, another okayish lead. Like I mean, like Lantern lead is pretty solid for me. Like I would say it's definitely a winning lead. You are going to have a little bit of a struggle, I think, on the 2-shield scenario because the opponent is going to be able to get to the Surf a little bit faster than you can get to the Earthquake. Earthquake is 8 and 7 fast moves, and Spark is, and like Surf is basically always like 6, I think. I think it goes like 665 or something like this. I'm not sure about it, but we will be able to just go for an Earthquake again. The opponent is going to let this move go through as well, and so I decide to use a shield here, trying to get some extra energy with my Clodsire, and I can now swap out into my Sableye, and also going to be able to get some extra energy here. The opponent swaps into the Vigoroth, which is okay for me. That's exactly kind of what I want to face here, because Vigoroth against Greninja, not the greatest idea. But the opponent decides to use a shield immediately, kind of telling me that they're most likely going to be weak to either the Ghost or the Dark typing of our Sableye in the back. So curious what they're going to run in the back here. We're going to be able to still go for the shield and try to go for a foul play to knock them out, because it's going to be our easiest and safest play to go for. But I kind of want to swap out immediately now into my Greninja, so I will be able to get as much energy as possible. The opponent has a Trevenant in the back, allowing me to get up to the Night Slash. Night Slash is going to do a ton of damage. Enough damage as well here to just, yeah, take the opponent's charge move and go into the Clodsire, go for the Sludge Bomb, knock them out, and then it's only going to be the Lantern in the back, which we should be able to just farm, or the Vigoroth in the back, which you will be able to farm down. Next opponent, let's see what they're going to run. We're going to have the Clodsire against the Lantern again. Like I think it's like back to back to back, which is kind of solid for us. So we're going to be able to just go for another Earthquake afterwards. The opponent decides to go for the Surf, which is, I guess, the play that I would do as a Lantern as well. I would usually just go for a Surf and then swap out. They decide to swap out though into a Talonflame. And yeah, Greninja is going to be able to win easily every single neutral shield scenario against the Talonflame. There's no way that the opponent can realign anything here. So this is going to be a great thing for the Greninja. Greninja is also going to be great against the Skarmory, which is kind of nice. But here we're going to be able to get the knockout. They go back into the Lantern, and I might even be able to get them into the Sludge Bomb range over the Earthquake range, which is going to save me some energy later on. And I'm fairly certain there should be in there after this Night Slash. Night Slash is going to come through here and definitely going to be in the Sludge Bomb range, as I will be able to use that move now. I can go for an extra fast move, and this is going to be a CMP type, where I decide to let this move go through, because I feel like even if it's going to be a Charmer, I still get to move, I think, as my Clodsire. And if it's not a Charmer, Sableye with a shield advantage going to be nice. It is not a Charmer, it's a Charger, which is also kind of fun. A nice pun there as well. But we're going to be able to go for the Sludge Bomb, which is going to do a ton of damage. But I let this move go through because I kind of want to reveal my final Pokemon to the opponent, just to showcase that Sableye does not really care too much about your little bug boy there, as the boss is not going to be able to win against our little Sableye here. They're going to go for another charge move. It does not really matter, as they decide to forfeit now, which is a little bit better for us. Next opponent, or next team here, going to be again a Cresselia in the lead, and this is again a little bit tricky. The issue is nowadays, Cresselia is usually not running Moonblast anymore. Cresselia is running the move Future Sight, and so the matchup for our lead turns from being very solid to being pretty bad. And so I'm forced to swap out, and I'm forced to have 2 Dark types in the back, which I guess are kind of nice against those a little bit better. Like, again, like, no, you don't have Moonblast, so you're not going to be able to hit super effective against something like the Sableye. But you know what has Moonblast? The opponent's Carbink. And Carbink is a tricky one, of course, if you use a Say Swap here. Maybe even Say Swap Greninja would be an interesting thing if you encounter too many Carbinks, because then you're gonna get this one out and you're still going to be able to counter it. But here, our best bet is basically to let this move go through. Moonblast is coming through, we can go for the full farm down, get some nice energy, and we have to swap out basically immediately, as they're going to have a Gligar in the back. I can go for the Night Slash against the opponent's Cresselia, but they have Grass Knot, and Grass Knot is going to be super effective against me. And so my only play here is to hope that I can swap out in time. And both of us are spammy, so there is definitely still a chance for it. But I know that the Cresselia has so much energy stored, like literally ridiculous amount of energy stored. And you can go for one Night Slash and they can still go for another move. And with this game is sadly over, as Clodsire gets completely hardwalled by Gligar. There's nothing I can do there. Final game for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, would really appreciate it, would help out the channel quite a bit, and also subscribe to the channel as well. We're getting closer and closer to 70,000 subscribers, and so I would appreciate that for sure. What I also appreciate is the matchup now of Cresselia against Sableye, since the Moonblast got, like not the Moonblast got nerfed, but like the Moonblast is less common on the moveset because of the current meta, where Future Sight does make way more sense. Basically, we're going to be able to just go for a charge move, farm them down. We're going to have a ton of energy now, and I think I might even be able to go for 2 foul plays against this opponent's Lantern. And with the extra fast move damage as well, we're going to put them into a range where I might be even able to farm down with any of our Pokemon. Sadly, they don't use a shield. I would have actually appreciated if they would use a shield, but maybe they use a shield here against our Clodsire. I swap out into my Greninja, catching the move, which is going to be for sure the Surf, which is amazing. And they're going to go for another charge move afterwards, which we're going to shield up, which is going to be the Thunderbolt. And with this, our Greninja is getting a ton of energy, allowing us to go for a Night Slash here as well. This is going to get the knockout or the shield, and it's going to get the knockout here. So in the back, it's only going to be a Dewgong, and Dewgong against Greninja with energy up for the Greninja is going to be amazing for us. We both have 1 shield left. We're going to have a little bit of a bad matchup in the back here, of course, with our Clodsire, but I can keep my Greninja around. I have now a charge move stored basically on my Greninja for later on. Night Slash does not knock them out yet, but I need some more fast move damage in order to do that basically, so I decided to swap out into my Clodsire. Clodsire can go for Sludge Bomb. Clodsire is doing some damage with the Poison Sting here, enough damage to put them into the Night Slash range, but we don't even need this, as I decided to go for the Drill Run. I can go for the Sludge Bomb and win this final game. This team worked out super well for me, as you saw here as well. A lot of wins, a very solid team. Would recommend you for sure to try it out if you have the Pokemon. I mean, 2 Community Day Pokemon, and yeah, the Sableye is something that's been common for like ages, so you most likely have this team. Definitely give it a try. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.